Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is James Norm, and I'm your host for tonight. And right here next to me is,
Ashnor.
and today we are going to be reviewing the Jak and Daxter game I just recently completed. I've split the review up into 5 portions. Each portion will be graded in a scale of 1 to 5, and at the end we will have a bulk scaling of 1 to 25 for each of us. And with that being said, Ashley, why don't you tell them a little bit about your expertise with games?
Very basic and limited to have fun. I don't get all that into it, like, the technical side of it. I'm more for the story and the characters and things like that. There's a few games that I really enjoy, and a few companies and brands that I really enjoy. Naughty Dog is one of them, which just happens to be our first game that we're talking about. And then, more specific actual titles of games that we'll get into down the track. Yeah. Yes, I am your very basic kind of, you just like enjoying an hour or two to yourself kind of review more than an actual gamer. So don't come at me if you don't agree with my opinions. They're very basic.
And of course, as you can kind of tell, I'm a very avid gamer. I will sit there and play a video game for hours on end, and then top that off, actually look up videos, read up articles about the game, how it was created, and just the backstory and all this information about it, because I do enjoy that every aspect about the video game. So if you're looking for a more in-depth review on this game, then you can look into me, but when it comes down to it, also don't get offended, because I will be stating my opinion. All of these will be opinions. It's not facts. Okay? I'm not going to be stating any facts in this game.
You're more than welcome to disagree with us or agree with us. We don't have to agree with your opinions either.
So, with that being said, we're going to go into the first topic, which is the story of the game. And I've branched with the story. I branched story, actual story, background lore, and the atmospheric story. And if you don't understand, story is kind of self-explanatory. The background lore, that is what you have to actually keep your eyes out for. It's not said out loud or really right in front of you. It's a lot of times you just have to look for it, for little tidbits of story. And then the atmosphere story is more of the setting, time, and place of the game. So with that being said, what do you rate this?
I'm going to rate this a 1. For me personally, I did not get into this game all that much. It's an older game, and I only just recently kind of started gaming, so to start off with an older game was kind of like, oh, I don't want to play this. I found the story boring. I skipped through all of those little meetings you do with the characters around the islands. That being said, though, I do like that it's kind of the one theme. Like, it's fantasy. It's medieval-ish in a very childish way, which is cool. But I'm still going to give it a 1, just because if I could choose not to play it again, then I probably wouldn't. Sorry.
Well, I hope y'all don't get upset when I say this. Even though I love this game with all my heart, I'm going to give this category a 2. Purely because I felt like the story was very lacking. And she had a point. It did feel boring. And even talking to all those people, it was just very boring. All fetch quests. And just, fetch quests are always annoying. So it's when it came down to it's either go grab something for me or pay me. I like a little meat with my potato meat stew. It's just that there wasn't really that much there. The atmosphere, though, I loved it. I adore fantasy. I just love it so much. It's just kind of like my whole, if I can have a choice, I would just live in a fantasy realm. I don't care if I'm a peasant. I just want to live in it. Background lore, though, I feel like it just wasn't there. I know it's there. You can do the research. You can find out more about the characters. One of the characters in the village is technically Jack's uncle. That's all you hear about with family for him. You don't even know who his parents are. in Samos, you know, he's a sage, and you hear about all the other sages, but you don't hear much about them. You literally get one time to talk to them, and that's towards the end of the game. There's no books you can read. There's no like little statues you can find. It's just literally just you have to actually go and search it all up to find all that, and you're still gonna have a difficult time if you don't have like little breadcrumbs. And I wasn't satisfied with the breadcrumbs that were giving me, so I give it a solid 2.
I know, like I said earlier, this is a much older Naughty Dog game than some of the recent, Uncharted, Last of Us and stuff like that, but the background for me, when I'm playing, I like to have flashbacks or playable background lore. Like The Last of Us in Part 1 did that really well with the extra game you could play with Ellie and her friend at the mall. Like, that gave into a lot of insight into that character. Whereas this, you had to find signposts and characters along the way to talk to, and it's just like, okay, now I don't really care what you've got to say because I'm not invested in hearing you right now.
Half the time those characters didn't even tell you anything interesting. They just asked you to pay them or asked you to go grab something. Yeah. They didn't tell you information about them. So, like I said, it's a solid 2.
1.
And we'll leave it at that. On to the next topic. Next topic is design. With the design, I am putting that under character design, level design, and world design. Don't get that mixed up with atmosphere. There's a big difference. World design is more for what kind of game did you expect to find in it, and atmosphere is more of time, place, and theme. So about the design.
See, this is where me being a basic gamer comes into play, because to me that sounds the exact same, but apparently that's different. I give the design a 3 though. I think right down the middle. The time of it, the graphics, the development of the game for early 2000s was pretty good. It was pretty spot on. It hasn't been remastered yet, so you can't expect too much from the graphics and the designs to be up there with what you get in 2022. The characters though, I found them quite one-dimensional. Daxter is the little guy. After the first 5 minutes of his little commentary, it's kind of like, alright, just now you're annoying. I'm aware that I fell off the cliff. You don't need to make a joke about it. Thanks. But yeah, so I think overall, for the time, it was okay. But again, it just really wasn't something that interested me all that much. So I'm going to go down the middle, give it a 3.
For me, I give it a solid 4. And this is kind of part of my love for the game, actually kind of going into it. I love the characters. I love the fact that we have the classic mute the protagonist just right there. He doesn't talk, and the only thing he makes is like grunting noises. I'm a big Advent Legend of Zelda fan. You right there, you got Link, almost just fantasy realm. Daxter, yes, he can get annoying, but of course you've got to have that one person with the protagonist that talks all the time.
I think that's probably why it made him seem so much more annoying than he probably actually was, is because Jak doesn't talk.
Yeah.
So it's like all the dialogue is from this one character.
And then, like I said, the character designs for all of them is like, they kind of look country bumpkins, but they're also like in different... It goes into actually the level or the world design is when you go from the first area where it shows like everyone's kind of like in country garb, and there's that farmer, and they all look like they're in part of the country. But then you go on to the next world, which is the Rock City, and you have everyone kind of wearing actual like kind of steampunky clothes because they're part of a city. And I feel like it's a big like it shows how the world and the characters really melt together in their design. Now, level design, the biggest thing I love about it is because you gotta remember, this PlayStation 2 era, when you were able to do like the 3D rendition with platforming and kind of an open world theme, then you kind of got me there, because I love platforming. I suck at it, but I love it. It's really, really challenging for me. And then
we should go head to head with like Crash Bandicoot or something one day.
I hate that game because I suck bad. And then, of course, there's the open world. So once again, Rock City, you have that whole little hub. In every world, actually, you have that little hub. You can just travel around, talk to all the people, and then you go off into different directions to actually finish the missions. And it's like, I love that. I love that they have that one hub, and it just kind of goes off. And then you have sometimes a major platforming, which we saw in the Spider Cave, where there's a giant robot in the middle, and you just platform all around it. I love that. I love that segment because it really does kind of bring an open world to a open world and makes it close, and then it goes back to open. I just love it. So that's why I give it a solid 4. The next one we have is actually the technical portion. This is gonna be kind of interesting. Under this, I put under with controls and graphics. Okay, we're talking about technicalities. Not like, oh, this is a good character. No, we're talking like, how did the game run specifically? So, what would you give that one?
I've given this one a 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's only not a 1 because you have to think 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what was the world doing 20 years ago with technology? Nothing compared to what it is today. So, for the time, it was possible. It was good, but to play it now, it just lacks. And there's the camera and the character control simultaneously that I just couldn't get my head around. But I can on other games, so I don't know what it is about this game that it seems like the camera lags with your character or something. I don't know, it's weird, but I couldn't get the hang of using the different joysticks for camera and character. Which, like I said, there's other games that do it and I have no problems with it. Like Uncharted, you have to do that. The character's one and the camera and the aim is the other. And I have no problem with it. Like this, I just couldn't get it. And there's certain points in the actual gameplay itself as well that it doesn't really make sense. Jump to this ledge, but then it doesn't jump. It's like, did I not hit that? Like, I could have sworn that I hit that, or the spin, and it doesn't work. So I'm giving it a 2, just because the era makes it possible.
Yeah. I am also giving it a 2, because like I said, like she said, it was back in PlayStation 2 era. We understand it's an older game. I personally feel like they need to remaster the game and update it, everything.
If they remastered it, I'd give it another go.
Yeah. But the camera is just so annoying. There's times where I'm trying to look at something and it ends up just sliding into the wall, and it's like, I don't want to look at the wall. I want to look at this place. And aiming down your goggles is annoying too, because you go to push up and your head goes down, and I'm just like, why? And I've looked in the city settings and they're not inverted, so it's like, why is it doing that? It doesn't feel right, it doesn't look right, and it's just rather annoying. So, and then the graphics, like I said, PlayStation 2 era, understandable. I do understand. But when you play a game to full completion, collect all 100 power cells, and then you get a special cutscene at the end of this game, and Daxter's lips are like clipping through, his teeth are clipping through his lips, mostly through that cutscene, it ruins it. I mean, as a kid, I didn't care because I just finished collecting 100 power cells. Half the time you're just so exasperated, you're like, I don't care anymore. But now it's just like, this cutscene would be so much better if it was a little bit cleaner. I felt like they didn't put enough love in the graphics for the cutscene. Not enough for that little cutscene. But mind you, PlayStation 2 era,
right?
We gotta give them.
You think about a lot of the animation back then, and it wasn't perfect.
It wasn't perfect, but they just need to remaster it. Just remaster it. That's all I can say. But I give it a solid 2. And it comes down to our last category, which is honestly gonna be the funnest one. Our overall opinion of the game. And this is pretty much, it's kind of like a, what do you actually think about the game? What do you actually think about the game?
Like I said, I'm not a fan of this game, and it's a shame because every other Naughty Dog game that I've played, I really enjoy. I think the first game I played ever was Crash Bandicoot on the PS1 when it came out on PlayStation 1. So that's going back, and I loved it.
Game.
And then they remastered it, and it made it even better. So when I heard that Jak and Daxter was Naughty Dog, I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty good. Like, they make really great games. And this one just missed the mark, I think. And again, you have to give a little bit of credit, because it is going back 20 plus years that it came out and was made. That being said, though, out of 5, I'd give it a 2, personally, just because it just didn't click with me.
And like I said, this is called the overall opinion. I give it a full 4, okay? Because it's part of my childhood. It's like technically like the third video game I ever played. The third game I ever completed 100%. But it was the first game I ever played on the PlayStation 2. And it's just, I was all in love with it. And as a kid, and I feel like this game was definitely aimed towards children. As a kid, it filled out everything on my video game checklist. Like, open world, well, Legend of Zelda gave me that with Hyrule Field. Jak and Daxter also gave it to me. It was like, check right there. Platforming, well, the first game I ever played was Toy Story 2 on the Nintendo 64, and that's a massive platforming game with also some kind of open world, but it was more platforming, and it's like, check right there. It was just great. Fantasy world, check. It was, everything was bundled into a beautiful package in a PlayStation 2 box, and I loved it.
It's almost kind of like it's the first, like, big kid game.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like it was marketed as. It's like, who is playing PS2? They're kids, but they don't want to play Disney.
Yeah.
They don't want to play learning games. So this is kind of like the first real game that a lot of people played.
Yeah. And like I said, as a kid, and now as an adult, going back to play this game, and actually having it on the PlayStation 4, and then you get that beautiful platinum trophy. Oh!
Which I got before you.
But I have it twice. I feel it. It's beautiful. I love it because they did do that, and I think that's what made this game like even better. Because now you don't have. When you were a kid and you finish the game, you go to school. Oh, I saw the last cutscene. I bet y'all guys did, because you have to collect all 100 power cells. Yeah, that's all you had to do. But now you have that platinum. You have that trophy, and you're just like, yes, I did that. That's why I'm giving it a solid 4. It would be a 5. It would be a 5. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this game, for a first game, is a beautiful foundation. Because I have played the second game, I have played the third game, and I don't feel like the first game has much interaction with the second and third. But I do feel like the first game provided a beautiful foundation for the second and my all-time favorite third, Jak 3. So that is why it's only a 4. Now, if we tally our scores up, we'll put them above our heads right here. I did a 12 out of 25. No,
I've got 12 out of 25.
I did 16 out of 25. Now, for me, I do it like math, 100%. That's what we're going for, 100%. So, mine's a 64%. Guess what? That's technically passing in college. Not in high school. C's will get you degrees, but a 64 is technically a low D. And you know what? I graduated with that. But Ashley also got a 48%. So with that being said, she is almost on the fence with it. But I got the big question though. Would you recommend this game to anyone?
Yeah.
You would what?
I would. To like a 12-year-old.
You got a point there.
Or someone who's kind of like me, not being big into the gaming world, and you kind of want to dip your toe in a little bit, so to speak. And
Okay.
it's a good first game to see just kind of get the feel of gaming. It's not too difficult. There's no major story you gotta follow. Like, it's pretty straightforward. And if you're like me, part of why I play games is so that I can get that platinum. I like getting the achievements. This is a good one to get those achievements. It's pretty easy. Because everything that you do in the game for the story is a trophy, basically.
You just have to make sure you do everything.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you gotta collect everything of, but mostly it's the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend it.
And of course, y'all guys know the answer for me. Yes. Not just yes. It would be a massive hell yes. I love this game. I recommend it to everyone, especially those people that don't play video games often. And I feel like this is a good game for those people on the go, on the fly, gotta do everything. But I want to play video games and relax a little bit. Play Jak. Because
a gamer for fun.
It's a gamer for fun. It's a game for fun. And not to mention, you can pick it up, put it down. Easy. It's just easy. You can go, oh, I'm gonna go get this power cell. Be back. Okay, done.
It's also quick. I've finished it. I've played it one time. I haven't played number 2 and 3 yet. I may possibly, so that I can do the next rating. I will either do that on camera or off. It depends on what y'all think. But yeah, it's easy. It's quick. I think I finished it in about 5.5 hours or something. Not total, but because we've got 2 kids, so it's not possible. But yeah, you got some spare time or a day or an afternoon, you could easily finish this in one sitting if you wanted to. If you had a sick day or something.
And for me, like the first time I played it, I platinumed it in like 4.5 hours. It's an easy, quick game, and I love it. It was just a great game. And not to mention, if you do want to play Jak 2 or Jak 3, play Jak Daxter first. Even if you think, oh, they said a lot of negative things about it, play that one first. Because I'm telling you right now, like I said, it's a foundation. It paved the way for Jak 2 and Jak 3. And if you don't play the first Jak first, it feels weird. It's going to be weird. But once you get used to it after the first game, you get through all the difficulties, they polish it up a little bit in Jak 2, and you're going to just be that much grateful. So, once again, I recommend it. I recommend it to anyone that wants to play video games, even the people that just don't really care about video games. Play it. Just sit down and play it for a few hours. That's all you want. That's all you need. Now, that actually ends our review video. With this being said, my last few comments on this video is I am actually going to be uploading Jak 2 playthrough. And I will not be platinuming it through recordings. I'll only platinum through streams. With that being said, if you want me to film her playing it, you gotta let us know. Because I think it'd be fun. And I'm in the process of trying to get a webcam on my PlayStation so that we can film our faces while we're playing the game. So I'll tell you right now, I do get irritated sometimes. And Jak 2 is notorious for a massive difficulty spike. So it's gonna be fun. And I'm enjoying it already. So with that being said,
there's a few games in the future that I will be also uploading onto his channel.
Oh yes.
That are my personal favorites. So once he gets through some of his, then we'll switch over to mine. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start doing contests most likely. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing at least my beautiful face and maybe her beautiful face too. And hopefully she'll be in more videos in the future. Most likely. She most likely will. She is my wife. So, most likely will. With that being said though, I'm James Norm.
I'm Ash Norm.
And you're now exiting Norm-Ality. Thank you for watching everyone, and please come back soon. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention one more category.
So if you're doing the math with us, you're wondering why it's not adding up, because we missed a category.
It's my fault. I'm actually, like, we're reading it off my phone. We did pretty much rehearsals on everything, and I'm the idiot. So the actual category, last category we were supposed to mention was overall difficulty. I'm just gonna make this pretty quick, by the way. And overall difficulty includes also if there's like the random difficulty spikes in the actual game. Ashley.
This is actually my highest score. I'm giving this a 4. Because it's just an easy game to play. There's a few sections that are a little bit more difficult. There's the cat chase on Misty Island. Snow Mountain as a whole is pretty difficult. But then there's also some really fun parts about that. The flying ostrich through the cave is one of my personal favorite parts about this game. But yeah, it's not too difficult. It's a quick, easy game to play. It's a first-time game, so and it's good. And you can't expect it to be level the whole way through because they didn't do one. So there's a couple of little difficulty spikes, but not so much that you want to rage quit. So I'm giving it a 4.
Close to rage quitting though. Okay, so I give it also a 4. Now, mind you, the reason I give it a 4 is because I feel like it's beautiful. You start easy, start like an infant, and then by the end of the game, you're like, I'm doing things in this game I didn't expect to do. But as she said, there is those difficulty spikes, and I'm telling you right now, y'all have heard it in my first video. I hate Misty Island because of one mission, and it is the god dang golden cat. I hate that cat. I hate it with a passion. I kind of want a plushie of it, though. It's cute as hell. But it's random difficulty spike, and you have to really angle with that. And
this is when we get a comment saying like, "What are you talking about it?" in like 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, if y'all give me that comment and you show me, film yourself doing it, and I will watch it, and then we'll see about that. But when it comes down to it, though, I feel like those difficulty spikes are good. It kind of keeps you on your toes. Like, you don't know, if you're playing this for the first time and you go into a new world, you don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. And then you could be, like, kind of in a lull, like, and all of a sudden, oh, this is actually kind of hard.
There's also kind of, it's not like a difficulty spike, but there's some surprises. Like the piranhas or something. There's fish in the water that once you get deep enough, they will eat you. I didn't know that. I was just casually swimming around and then started hearing the music getting louder. I'm like, what is that? And then I got eaten. So,
yeah.
A couple of things that catch you by surprise, but then once you know they're there, then it's like, I can maneuver this, it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't really do that during my gameplay. I did it once, mostly because I just wanted to show y'all guys what can happen. Sorry about the little last minute side rant, but that's all we need to see. James Norm, out.